Hey everyone, how's it going? Before I start talking for 30 minutes to you all about a not-so-hyped topic, which is AI, who here has already done a POC or is implementing something? Raise your hand so I know. Makes sense. What I'll tell you, I'll step away from the AI hype, agents, and talk about something more plausible, or at least try to. I'll explain what a backbone is, so I can implement AI effectively and not end up with an eternal POC, which the folks who raise their hands know. It's an eternal POC, a proof of concept where AI does this. But how do I actually implement and scale it? I'm not going to do anything. Wow, an agent or AI I have to look at. I'm going to look at the existing infrastructure before anything else. All right, let's go. Intelligent backbone. First point, why is Sensedia looking at this? And why is the market interested? We've always built integrations for one purpose, for us humans. Developer portal, iPaaS, API management. Most of you are familiar. API documentation, Swagger. We know what integration is. But now, non-humans need to know integration. So what do I do with that? On top of all that, it creates a complexity that didn't exist before. Humans consuming integrations were already problematic and complex enough. Everyone here who has ever developed an integration knows that. But now we have an agent, and we have no idea how it will call an existing integration. So there are governance, security, and a series of problems that, before a POC or putting an agent into production, I need to worry about. If I put it into production, who knows how autonomous agent uses integration? I don't know, nobody knows. Nobody can explain what's inside, okay? That's the whole point. That's why we're actively developing tools and protocols so we can actually put this into production safely, okay? Yeah, this is a cliche, but it's true. Artificial intelligence. Now we have generative AI, which is great. I can speak in natural language. It's not new. Everyone here knows that, okay? But for it to work, the infrastructure and architecture need to be up to date, all right? Especially your integration architectures and infrastructures. No one here is going to build an LLM from scratch, or if someone is doing that, they must have a lot of money. We need to use the intelligence, the integrations, and the data we already have. This isn't about recreating or redoing things, or jumping on the hype with a new word that's supposed to be the next big magic trick. Okay. It's about making it possible to use what already exists. Integrations that are already in place, APIs that are already built, and giving them a way to become more user-friendly for your agents, so they can be consumed within a controlled context, okay? Healthy, governed APIs prepared for non-human consumption. As I said, it was hard enough for us to create integrations. Now double that, because we don't really know what an AI does. It's non-deterministic. So that's another layer of complexity in the architecture many people here are already familiar with and struggle with. And there's another saying here. My AI is surrounded by information. That's a fact. I've got a data lake, a gateway, APIs, iPaaS. That's for real. I've got databases with all kinds of information. But then what? What do I do? How can I turn all this into practical things? Right? And then there's another complication. Like I told you at the beginning, it's already hard enough to create integrations for humans. I've already got duplicate APIs and poorly made integrations that return too much or not enough data. And now I'm going to have something non-human consuming these same integrations. I don't even need to say the result, right? Everyone already knows the outcome. The famous hallucinations, an ineffective way of turning something fantastic for my business ends up becoming a problem or a data leak. We don't know, okay? All this impacts what we call the company's mind. What does that mean? You have agents to serve your end customer and agents to help your employees work better and more effectively. But your integrations don't allow it. You're stuck. The company is stuck. And again, this is the foundation. Far from the hype of a new LLM or something specific, it's a problem we are all familiar with, an integration problem. How do I unlock integration so I don't end up stuck in an eternal POC? So I can actually deliver value with AI? So I can implement a business model that doesn't hold me back and doesn't cause a data leak? And that's where the analogy of the backbone comes in. Put the brain up there, an agent, a model, an LLM, whatever, some autonomous agent that does something. All right, it's a brain. But a brain alone inside a jar isn't going to do much. Without information, stimulus, or a way to interact, it's not very useful. It might be intelligent, but without context, it's just empty. So what gives it context? Old acquaintances, APIs, integrations, databases. And here comes another old acquaintance, legacy systems, legacy information buses, duplicated APIs, poorly developed APIs, poorly built integrations, too much latency, the same old issues, but now on steroids. Now I have a bunch of little brains hungry for information, but they only have an old channel to consume it from. All I'm doing is adding problems, just stacking up more issues. Again, I'm not here to tell you about some revolutionary AI that's actually going to solve this problem. This problem is too complex for AI to solve. This is a serious architectural problem we all have, and it needs to be solved in multiple ways. It's not a one-way issue, and several tools exist. Again, there are more tools than just these. I'm focusing on the tools we see most often. Underneath this backbone, the brain inside a jar, it doesn't mean much. If you give it context, put a backbone in it, and give it context, then yes, it becomes specific, something that can really change the business. How do I give a context familiar names iPaaS API gateway? Hey, Taquito, what's that got to do with AI? Where will AI get data? I don't know. Can't I create something specific for AI? What for? If I already have it, why not reuse what I already have, which was probably well built, giving it the proper context? Yeah, I'm touching on two things here, governance and observability. I'll talk about security too. Observability is here for an important reason, governance, and I'll add security here as well, okay? Yeah, we don't know. After I ask something from an LLM, okay, it thinks, in quotes, lots of quotes, all right? Which API use? I don't know. It depends on the prompt the user is giving. So how do I know an AI is using the right integrations in the right way and not returning too much or too little data? Where is the corporate governance over what I'm exposing to my agents? Since I really don't know. In fact, again, it's non-deterministic. I don't know what it's going to do. Not exactly. Underneath all this, I have observability. Anyone who's ever woken up in the middle of the night knows how important this is. And it's only going to get more important because I have non-deterministic agents scaling this. I don't know what it's going to do, and I need it very well developed and established where I'm going to monitor the infrastructure that supports this whole thing. If something fails, where is it failing? Who's going to open a ticket if an LLM can't call your API? Who notices that? Like I told you at the beginning, it's an integration problem on steroids. That's what we create. Everything is an integration problem. So what is this so-called intelligent backbone? Everything we do. Integration, API governance. AI consumes data differently. Aren't there protocols where I can provide context for these integrations that already exist within my infrastructure without reinventing the wheel? Can I use what already works well? For example, my company has a developer portal that's well distributed, well established. Now I want to create an agent on top of these same integrations that have already been studied, proven, done. They're there. Do I need to reinvent the wheel to integrate an autonomous agent with existing integrations? I don't need to. So I take all these well-established tools, proven in production and widely used, that have been in the market for a long time and work really well. And in fact, I start to provide context. And then I'm going to focus on a very specific pillar, which is what I'm calling the fourth pillar, a pillar specifically for the integration of independent agents. MCP is a new protocol, and it's possible that MCP might not catch on. So to give you all some context, what is MCP, the Model Context Protocol? It's one of the protocols where I can take an integration or existing integrations and provide context so that agents can consume them more effectively. It's essentially a developer portal for AI agents. I'll use many analogies, but that's fine. Here's another one. Yeah, okay. All right. That's the integration context. But what does that change? Think about this scenario. You have your developer portal for agents, in addition to the human consumption developer portal you already have. How much does that speed up a pilot, a POC for adopting AI? Since I don't need to create new integration pathways, I can reuse what I already have. How much does that speed things up? And how much does it get me out of that endless loop of doing POCs and not being able to implement or scale them? Or having to develop something completely new? Everyone here knows that we have the job of maintaining what we already have and developing what's new. Do I need to develop something outrageous or make a really deep architectural change just to do a POC or implement AI? That's the idea here, to use specific protocols, to use specific tools for specific problems. This is one of them. Could MCP catch on? It could. It's a model, a protocol by Anthropic. It exists, and OpenAI plans to implement. Azure implements it. Oh, could there be another protocol coming in the future? Yes, just like APIs has several protocols, REST, GraphQL, SOAP gRPC. Each serves a different purpose. AI and this integration model are the same. Why is it different? Security, governance, and everything else. I can give context in a secure and governed way. My agents answer what I want, using data I control. It's not an out-of-control thing I'll just stick onto AI hoping for the best. It eases anxiety and insecurity about autonomous agents making decisions instead of humans. Am I saying this is a miracle, that it will revolutionize everything, and now we can put AI everywhere? No. What I'm saying is this mitigates risks of deploying an autonomous agent whose way of thinking we don't understand. Put AI where AI does a good job. Give it the specific data it needs, and only the data it needs, within the governance guardrails I've established. That's the big question. Every time I talk about governance here, a lot of people roll their eyes, and I get it. I do too. Governance is a boring word. Governance is usually associated, right? It always comes hand in hand with slowness, and so on. But it's never been so important. Without governance, no AI POC will move forward. No one will feel safe enough to put something into production. Let's look at an example, a contextual integration layer. I have an iPaaS, API management, and existing running components. Integration flows are running, and an exposed API is already in place. So what am I going to do? Add context, a protocol that combines or takes a single integration, and so on. Do whatever is needed to expose the data to my agent. What agent is that? I don't know. It could be a customer service agent. It could be an internal agent. It could be something new, okay? That's the main point. Freedom for contexts and ideas to be created and scaled without. Again, the anxiety of having something autonomous that you don't know how it's going to respond or what data it's going to use. Okay. Within this backbone, I provide arms, legs, a nervous system, so that things can really flow all right, so that an AI has a clear objective or clear objectives. Here's a cliche. Anyone can have AI. OpenAI is available. Use their API. It's fantastic. It gives assertive answers, impressing me daily. But for a specific thing you want to implement in your business, inside your company, how does that actually integrate? How is that actually done? All right, now I'll give you some context. The little video you saw at the beginning will keep looping. Don't worry, it's just an example, okay? Sensedia's platform has a series of APIs. For what? To manage our platform, I have an API that creates another API, and one that lists all users registered within Sensedia. Sensedia has a series of administrative APIs. So what did we do? We put an MCP in front of these APIs and provided context. Again, data context. I know what data this agent has. I started asking questions, which might seem harmless. The first question is, identify the redundant API for me. Ever encountered redundant APIs? Many have. This test environment intentionally provides practical examples. Yeah, and we also check the accuracy of this. Is this duplicated? Does it make sense? It does. Is this LLM pre-trained on Sensedia? No. This raw Anthropic LLM only supports MCP. Does it know Sensedia? No. Did I give it context? No. Did I pre-train it? Also no. It's a raw model. It knows nothing about Sensedia. Look at the question I asked. It gives me an assertive answer. What are the APIs for checking current account data? Again, with no context. It's calling the API and the MCP behind the scenes. It's actually understanding which integrations I have under the hood based on the integrations I gave it context for using the protocol, and the answer it gives is very assertive, with no pre-training at all, just by providing context. I'm not telling you to eliminate pre-training. That's not it. What I'm saying is, this, combined with your strategy, can actually end that endless cycle of POCs and the insecurity of, am I really going to put an agent to do this? Truly 100% independent, confident, safe. Now, I want to draw your attention to the science of what's possible. This here, yeah, these are queries. They're relatively simple things. But what if I take an example where it performs an action, where it makes a decision? For example, list for me within the Sensedia platform all users not active in the last 60 days. It will be able to list them, but I give command delete users. It's autonomous agent. How do I know it'll delete the right user? The protocol, the power of the protocol. See how it understands IDs. I'm providing the ID of a specific API. It knows how to call the correct API for me and do what needs to be done. So, everything I'm showing you here has nothing to do with complex development, where you'd need highly specialized labor to do something really crazy. This is pure API. These are integrations that already exist within a protocol based on the good old client-server model. Everyone here is familiar with it. Nothing new or like, wow, I need a new language, or nobody knows this. We don't need to retrain the market to make it work. Yeah, still within the realm of what's possible, this example, again, is based on the APIs from Sensedia's platform. Now, pause and think about your business, about your integrations. With something like this applied, using existing APIs and integrations, what can you do? That's my idea today. That's exactly the challenge I'm putting out. There's a whole range of information, a whole set of integrations already built. And with this enablement here, you can literally explore an ocean of use cases, an ocean of possibilities, either without or at least with much more control than we're used to. And within this Sensedia universe as well, there are two main approaches. The first, as I mentioned to you, is to take your integrations and actually use this protocol so you can create. So you have the comfort to create agents and specific use cases for applying artificial intelligence. But for us at Sensedia, we have another very important use case. Imagine you're on a team at a large company, which might be the case for many of you. Well, cool, I can apply this thing, but I had no idea what my integrations are. Or I know my team's context. What now? Well, with this kind of technology now embedded in our platform, you can actually talk to what you have available in natural language. You can easily ask it what APIs you have available for registering clients or for client data. Basically, you can go wherever your imagination takes you. You can literally have someone non-technical, like a PM or a PO, interact with the integrations they already have. They can ask more purposeful questions. I have this range of integrations. What use cases can I explore with minimal effort? What changes are needed in my integrations or API model for new use cases? I have banking APIs. Can I establish bank as a service? What's required? I'm not saying it'll be the fifth wonder of the world. Implementing bank as a service out of the box for you, that's not it. Your strategy will become much easier. The life of a new developer on your team becomes much easier. The life of your PM, your PO gets much easier, interacting with existing integrations. Now apply this to API management and iPaaS. They'll detail integration, communication, data flow, and exposed APIs. In a way anyone can understand, you can ask, do I have integration that inserts data into my HubSpot, Salesforce, or ServiceNow? It answers. That was the message I wanted to share with you all, folks. That was the example. Hope you enjoyed it. Time for questions? Do we? Thank you, Torqueto. I'll start with the first question. What are the main steps to start implementing MCP? Main steps? Well, first of all, are your APIs and integrations well designed? Not well designed for human consumption, you'll transfer the problem. Design your APIs following best practices. Step 1. Step 2, MCP, it's a client-server 1. Again, it's a new protocol, okay? This protocol could be discontinued, another could emerge, and future security flaws are possible. Use it with caution. MCP is a client-server protocol in Python, Java, and JavaScript. It's easy. The documentation is good. Not the eighth wonder, and there are challenges, but it's well documented. Sensedia's tool will soon support MCP, meaning if you have an exposed API, we'll soon expose the MCP server for you. It's a client-server protocol, folks. Understand it's a protocol like REST. No secret to MCP. There's also Google's 8a, if I'm not mistaken, but that's up for debate. This was the segue to the next question. How does Sensedia speed up MCP adoption for those with Sensedia's gateway and dev portal? What solutions simplify this? First, if you have Sensedia, you're concerned about API quality. That's step 1. So the platform will help you. Like I mentioned to you, in the future, we've established that we want to support MCP server, meaning we want our clients to have this capability in a more high-level, more user-friendly way, okay? This will be developed over time, but Sensedia will also help with these new protocols. We're an integration partner. MCP is an integration protocol. It's on the roadmap. Your developer portal is gold, as MCP needs context. That context is usually coded by humans. Your dev portal will have that context. Many things documented in your dev portal can be replicated for MCP to talk to your agent. It won't talk to your agent, but the context from your dev portal can be replicated here. And one more. Does using MCP lead to a considerable increase in AI costs? Actually, it's going to lower your AI costs. At least that's what Again, okay? All of this is very new. More context means more accurate, less capacity used,